Kidney Warriors! It is Tuesday. It is 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. What's that mean? It means we have a live show. Hey there, Jen. How you doing?
Hey James, I'm great. How are you?
Hey, doing fantastic as always. And excited to do this show today. This is our second one of these. Last week was great. We had lots of people there, lots of questions, great engagement, and looking forward to just keeping this all going and bringing more great information to everyone out there.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah, let me do a little housekeeping right here. I am missing my window of all the chats, and I don't know where it went. Let's
The
see.
joys of technology, right?
Yes. All right. I went to the wrong app. So anyway, while I'm looking for this, everybody, today we are going to talk about being newly diagnosed with chronic kidney disease. And if you have chronic kidney disease, you went through this. There was a day when you didn't have kidney disease, and then the next day you find out, boom, tag, you're it, you got it. And there's a lot that you go through, a lot of emotions, a lot of wonder, concerns, the fear, uncertainty, doubt about the future. And you guys all did probably what I did, went on the internet, started looking, and I'm sure, Jen, the people you work with, find the same thing I do. Not exactly positive. Not exactly bright and sunny and rainbows and things like that. But they're wrong. I was stage 5, told there was no chance, 0 chance of getting better. Look at me today. Lots of energy. Doing great. Loving life. All right. So, anything you wanted to add to that intro, Jen, while I'm trying to find where all the chat icons are?
Yeah, I think, well, for one, the silver lining in that diagnosis is the fact that you got the diagnosis. So many people, and I saw this countless times when I was in dialysis, working as the dietitian in the clinic. So many times I would have that brand new patient come in, starting on dialysis, emergency start, the catheter in the neck, bright-eyed, like that, what is it, the deer in headlights look of just having no idea that this was coming. So a lot of people, unfortunately, just aren't aware of their diagnosis. And I think right off the bat, that silver lining is the fact that if you find out you have kidney disease before you're in dialysis, that is a blessing in disguise. And it sure does sound like it's in disguise, but you are given such a great opportunity to do so many great things for your health. Just like James talked about, I mean, from your story, you could have easily said, okay, that's fine. Hook me on on dialysis, like that shock of everything coming over and just kind of going with it. But you took control of that, and it makes a huge difference. So for any of you out there that do have that diagnosis of kidney disease, take empowerment, take control of that diagnosis, and it will make a huge difference on your future and your mentality.
Yeah, and a lot of people, of course, I talk with a lot of people online through the website and Facebook and YouTube, and most people seem to find out when things get really bad, when the symptoms have just gotten so bad, you got to go into the doctor and see them. You can't overlook them. And I tell people that find out at stage 2, stage 3, wow, you are so lucky to find out so early, because now you have more time to make adjustments, to make changes, to look at nutrition as part of your treatment strategy, and to find out what puts more stress and burden on your kidneys, the bad habits you have, and stop doing those so that you can slow down, stop, and maybe even regain some of that lost kidney function. And the higher your GFR, the calculation on how well your kidneys are filtering is, the easier it is to make these changes. Because small things aren't as impactful. When you're diagnosed stage 5, a little too much potassium has a can have a big impact. But when you're stage 3, you eat a little too much potassium, you can probably handle it. Especially at the top end of stage 3. It's not as much of an impact to you.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely.
All right, I did find all the comments. Yay! Thank you, everybody. Now remember, if you were here last week, there is about a 30-second delay between what we see on the screen, or what you see on the screen, and what's really happening here. Feel free, ask questions. Give us some comments. And if I see something up here that looks like, hey, we need to address that, I will ask Jen about it. And for those of you that are here for the first time, and you haven't been to her website or my website, let me do a quick introduction of who I am, and I'll let you do an introduction of who you are, Jen. I am James. I am a kidney patient. Maybe even call me a kidney survivor. I was diagnosed when I got to the ER, opened my car door, and had some heart problems, fell to the ground. GFR of 8 the very first day. Doctors got me up to 13, said that's the best I will ever get, that I had to have dialysis. But that was just going to, derail my entire life and my job and everything. And I did some research because I consider myself a super nerd, and I discovered nutrition and lifestyle change. I said, I'm going to give that a try. And boy, am I glad I did. Today, not a single symptom. That is the most important thing. 0 symptoms, lots of energy, nothing is stopping me from doing what I want to do. My kidney disease, you can't even tell by knowing it, by looking at me, by meeting me, by seeing the things that I do. Now, my GFR, it's not that great. It's up to 33, maybe even higher. I haven't had my labs in a while. But what is most important is how I feel, my quality of life. I am loving life, even though my kidneys are shot. Not going to stop me. So that's a little bit about me. Let's get a little bit about you, Jen.
Thanks, James. So I'm Jen, and I am a renal dietitian. So I'm a registered dietitian. What brings me joy in every day. And I've been in renal for, oh my goodness, I can't keep track of time.
I need to
Oh,
interrupt you real quick. There,
oh yeah.
there was a glitch. Thank you for letting me know, everybody. I had you muted by mistake, Jen.
Oh,
We did this
oh
last
no.
time, but I muted myself by mistake. Thank you, everyone, for letting us know in the comments. Can you go back and, sorry to have you do this, but reintroduce
No,
yourself?
absolutely. Just make sure that they're good to hear me now.
They
Um,
are. We can hear you.
awesome. Okay, great. So, yeah, my name is Jen. I am a renal dietitian, which means I'm a registered dietitian that is also board certified in renal nutrition. And I help people like James who have kidney issues, stages 1 through 5, who don't want to be on dialysis, make the most impactful changes in their nutrition and their health so that they don't have to go on dialysis. They don't end up with that declining kidney function. And I do this all online virtually. I see all of my clients just like this every single day. And it is what brings me so much joy in providing them all of the support they need with the different the different support systems I have for my clients. So I've worked in dialysis in 3 different states. One, two, three. Yeah, 3 different states. I move a lot, and I've also worked with the National Kidney Foundation to do kidney screening. So I have done A to Z from CKD1 to end stage renal, and I love all of it. And I am just again so honored to be joining you, James, for this live today.
Oh, thank you for giving your time here for everyone. As a kidney warrior myself, we hunger for information. And when it comes to finding information on the internet, oh my goodness, it's the wild, wild west, and there is so much incorrect information, dangerous information, and then there is some helpful information, but I found it was far too general and it
Mhm.
wasn't updated and modernized for what I was looking for. So it's great to have an actual renal dietitian here sharing information and just helping fill that knowledge gap that we kidney patients have. The day we're diagnosed, most of us know so little and we have to learn a lot. And the more you learn, everybody, the easier it is to live a great life with kidney disease. So I want to share a little bit about when I was diagnosed. Oh my goodness, hold on. I'm seeing the comments. I see Allison. Hello, Allison. Her and
Oh.
Russell made it. It is like the middle of the night in New Zealand for them. Hey there, Allison. Glad you made it. But let me tell a little bit about when I was first diagnosed, and maybe you can help with some recommendations of things that maybe I didn't do or things that I could have done better to help get from diagnosis to where I was, kicking kidney disease to the curb, as I say. So when I was first diagnosed, like most of you out there, you probably went through denial. I was in complete denial. There was no way my kidneys were shot. I knew people who had bad kidneys. That wasn't me. No. Now, I was not healthy. I was overweight. Wasn't looking at my health. I was eating processed fast food all the time, drinking lots of soda. Oh, all the signs were there. And I had suffered through a lot of symptoms for about 2 months. And I just started ignoring them. But I just had to go to the ER. It got too bad. And when they told me I was in complete denial, I thought, hey, I've been taking Mucinex because I had this cough that wouldn't stop. That's throwing the blood test off. I was taking Pepto-Bismol because nothing would stay down at all. The metallic taste in my mouth. I was just going on and on about, no, I had all these things I took to try to cover up the symptoms.
Mhm.
But then I eventually, after probably 24 hours, I accepted that yes, I have kidney failure, not just kidney disease, kidney failure. And at that point, that's where the fear, uncertainty, and doubt start setting in. And that's the fear of the future, the doubt of the future, your uncertainty, you don't know. I was going online, I'm seeing all this negative stuff, I'm reading about dialysis. And I don't want to make it sound like dialysis is bad. For some people, they need dialysis. It saves their lives and keeps them alive until they can get a transplant. But it would be a massive change in my life, in my job. I would have had to leave my job. There's no way I could have done my job traveling constantly, these long days where I'm standing up, and I'm kind of a teacher in a way, and a corporate teacher. So I'm with adults running around, jumping, teaching stuff. That never would have worked if I had to keep going into dialysis. And, it weighs heavy on your brain as I sometimes at night, or if I'm watching a TV show after I was diagnosed, I would sometimes think of the future and worry about it. And, I missed, this sounds so odd right now. I thought of, I will never eat pizza again. I'll never eat a Big Mac. I'll never have a Whopper. I'll never have fried chicken. Because I misunderstood a renal diet. As we talked last week, I saw everything as eliminated. There's nothing I can eat. And I worried about that. And life expectancy, oh my goodness, anyone who gives you a life expectancy with kidney disease is guessing. And I would say, and I'm not a doctor, they're 99% wrong. Because there's no telling what the life expectancy will be. Just making sure. I saw someone say no sound, but they got sound. Okay, we're all right. And it all looks good here. Yes. But eventually I started learning more. And I met people who helped me and showed me that there was hope, that there was positive things out there. I went on YouTube. There wasn't a channel like this. There wasn't a lot of us kidney warriors, sharing our life online and saying, hey, I'm sick. This is what's wrong. Here's what I'm doing. But I found things to do. My doctor, I talked to you about this, Jen. He told me, you need a hobby. You're going to get better. I'm going to help you get better, and you need a hobby. And he suggested that I start making a blog of what I'm doing and recording. He said, one day you're going to get so good. I'm going to get you so much healthier. You're going to want to write a book. And you need something to go back and look at. And that's what started this, Dadvice TV. I sitting in this exact chair, in this exact room, just put my cell phone over there on a camcorder or on a tripod and started talking to it. No clue what the future was, and that this would grow and help so many other people. But that helped me become productive or feel productive with kidney disease. And it pushed me to learn more. And the more I learned, the more I saw, hey, I can do this. And the most important thing was when I started working with a renal dietitian. And I understood I could eat a banana if I wanted to. I could have a piece of fish if I wanted to. It's all about the nutrients, not what the food is called. There's nothing wrong with an avocado itself. Now, it has potassium in it. And if I eat too much potassium, there's a problem there. But having a little bit of potassium, I need it. And as we talked last week, Jen, so many kidney patients when they're first diagnosed just cut out so much. We over-restrict. And I think that feeds in to that uncertainty of the future and kind of a level of depression that sets in. Are you seeing that with people you work with?
Oh, absolutely. From every client that I work with, right off the bat, what I see is over restriction. And that's oftentimes when people call me just to do a kidney master plan call, a free call. They tell me, oh, I'm not eating this, I'm not eating that, I'm not eating this. I'm like, okay, what are you eating? Like, that doesn't sound very fun, So it is all the time that people are telling me what they're not eating. What I want to know is, what are you eating? What do you want to eat? That's what we got to focus on. And I think you can even feel from those two different perspectives. That's where that mentality sinks in. And you talk about the initial diagnosis and sometimes having that feeling of depression if you focus on things that you think that you can't eat. Again, it's not confirmed. Like James said, a banana, avocado, anything, those can be a part of your diet. It's just a matter of finding out how much, how often, that kind of stuff. But if you're thinking, I can't have this, I can't have that, where is your brain, where is your mentality going to take you? But think about all the stuff you can and should be eating and things that are good for your kidneys, especially in the state of your kidney condition right now. What is going to be supportive and helpful and productive and help you feeling good when it comes to eating? So all the time, James, I see that all the time of people thinking too much about what they can't have and not focusing enough on what they can.
Yep. And there's nothing that I can't technically eat. It really comes down to portions. And now I may look at something and like, ooh, I've had my meals mostly for the day. I've kind of got my allotment of potassium and phosphorus and sodium and all that. And there's something that's too big, like I'm not going to eat a gigantic tub of ice cream like I used to do. I hate to think about that. But yes, I'd sit down and eat a whole tub. But if I want a little bit of ice cream, I can do it. Now, if it's something that's super heavy in some nutrient that I need to be a little more restrictive on, I kind of cut back at lunch, cut back at dinner, so I have room for it. But I can go out anywhere and find plenty of stuff to eat. It's not hard at all, whether it's fast food, it's a restaurant, when I travel, we go out to eat, or they bring in lunch. I had no problem. I just had to make choices, and I just kind of thought about, oh, that's going to use up this much of my allotment. That's going to use up this much. I got to save some for dinner. I want to have maybe a small baked potato at dinner. So I would save my potassium earlier in the day, not eat stuff that's got potassium in it. When I discovered that, to look at food as nutrition, not as the name of the food, not banana, orange, apple, tomato, things that, a lot of times some people may think, I can't eat that. When I looked at the nutrition, so much more became available. Actually, everything became available. It comes down to portions.
Yeah, exactly. And I think something that you brought up that is really great, and I'm obviously so biased in this, but you found out how much you need from your dietitian. Now, people can go online, you can go look up Dr. Google, and you can see tons of these ideas of the amounts that are recommended, because there are guidelines that are very standardized, but it doesn't always apply to you. So in order for you to understand the best quantity in each of these categories, we talk about phosphorus, sodium, potassium, protein, carbohydrates, fiber, all of those things, it's going to come from a one-on-one consultation with a dietitian. There's no other way around it. You can ask your doctor, you know what he's going to do? He's going to pull up those generic guidelines. He's going to pull up his phone and and then that's what you're going to get. You're going to get that generic handout. You're going to get that generic advice until you work with a dietitian that can tell you, okay, looking at your stage of kidney disease, looking at your other health conditions and health concerns, looking at your lab results, looking at your weight, your height, your blood pressure. I mean, there's so many different things for us to take into consideration. That is how we figure out what's best for you. And more often than not, especially for those of you that are CKD3, CKD2, CKD1, you could need a lot more nutrition, a lot more nutrients than you think you do. And don't take it from another person who has kidney issues. If they say, oh, I don't eat beans, I can't eat beans, don't assume that that's the case for you, because it's most likely not the case for you. Maybe they found out their individualized recommendation, or maybe they pulled it from Dr. Google and said, oh, I was told online not to eat this, I'm not going to eat this. Not the case. So I really want to nail down and stress that anything you find online is going to be generic, is more often than not going to be about restrictions for safety, but it doesn't mean that that's for you.
Yeah, 100%.
Did I get that point across enough?
I think so. And I'm very nerdy. I want charts. I want graphs. I want numbers. When I get my labs, I export it. I bring it into my own Excel sheet to see where things are. And every time I got my new labs, I would sit down, make an appointment with my dietitian, even if it was just a touch base, and say, hey, here's what I'm doing. Because then she would share stuff like, well, hey, here's a new way to make up that stir fry. Have you tried adding ginger? Have you tried adding this to give it some more flavors? She always had information for me. But every time I had my labs, I went in there, and anything, especially in the beginning, that was outside of the standard range, we said, okay, how can I adjust my diet to try and fix that? And every single thing, there was something I could do. My potassium's too high, I got to do this. Then once all my labs were within the standard range, my conversation changed to, how can I get it right in the middle? I want to be perfect on all these results. What do I need to do?
You're a data guy. You're a numbers guy.
Get me close, and now let's get right on there. And I learned what to do. I used an app to track things. The same app that you recommend, Chronometer, I use that. I like it. There's a free version. But But I also like the pay version. The reason I use the pay version, two things. One, I could set targets. I could say, this is my potassium, this is my phosphorus, and it shows me a graph. As I'm adding foods, where am I with my daily target? So I don't get way too much of it. And I have all my graphs and data online, and my doctors can all log in and see it, which is fantastic. I do the
Right.
same thing with my blood pressure and my weight. In fact, my blood pressure guy right here, my little Withings guy, I'll be talking about this in a couple of weeks because World Hypertension Day is coming up. But all that data is all on the web, and all my doctors have everything. They know what I ate. Did I gain weight? I've been gaining a little bit of weight with all this stay at home. They can also see how much exercise I've been doing because I share all the stuff from my Apple Watch and everything. But that has just made it so much easier to work with them, especially the dietitian, and fine tune things and find what works. Now, in the
Yeah.
conversations, wow, we have quite a few questions. A lot of people are
Okay.
talking about, I can't believe this, but Renadyl is very popular. They're talking about it. And they don't sponsor this show. We should have them sponsor
Yeah.
this show.
Right.
Yeah, people are asking how to take Renadyl. You take 2 tablets a day. That's the standard dosage that they recommend. You can take them with food or without. If you take it without, you may get a little gas until your body gets used to it. But you just take 2 a day. Now, some people were saying, how much will your GFR go up after 3 months? There is no guarantee. What Renadyl is a good bacteria that sits in your gut, and a lot of the waste products, the nitrogenous waste that end up in our bloodstream that our kidneys got to filter, it sees it as food. It's kind of like Pac-Man, and they're gobbling up some of it. And when you go to the bathroom, it passes that way instead of making its way into the bloodstream where your kidneys have to do that work. And positive results from taking Renadyl could be your GFR goes up. Mine did. My BUN lowered, my creatinine lowered, my GFR went up. It could also stay stable. It could help stabilize you. That is success. Not declining is good. And then it could also slow down a decline because we can't repair kidney damage. There's no magic pill anywhere on the planet. No matter what you've read, no matter what videos you've watched, there is no cure, no magic pill. But it may be able to slow down the decline and help you. But there is no guarantee. There's no, someone I saw, there were a lot of comments. I saw someone said 6 points in 3 months on your GFR. No, there's no guarantee. Now mine did go from, I think 27 to 33. Mine had dropped down to 27 because there was the holidays, or a bunch of stuff I was doing and traveling. And I am always tweaking my diet. I get labs, I do something, I get labs, then I tweak because I want to keep trying to get better. And it got me up to 33. And I've continued to take it since my last labs, which was January 4th. I would love to know where I'm at right now. I feel great. I want to say I feel even better. I feel like a higher GFR. I don't know. But just to help answer the questions that everyone has been asking about Renadyl, I use it. I recommend it. Talk to your doctor about it. Jen, you want to mention how you use it with your patients or your clients?
Sure, sure. So I am also a really big advocate for the use of Renadyl, and James, you did a great job explaining how it helps, and also emphasizing that there's no magic pill to take care of kidney issues. It is a matter of this is one of the tools in your toolbox that you can use. It is not something that you can eat a poor diet and take this probiotic, take the supplement, and think it's going to eat away all of the wastes that come from a poor diet. That is not the case. It is supplemental. It's called a supplement, right? It is supplemental to a good foundation diet, a good nutrition treatment plan. So I actually provide 90-day supply to my clients that I work one-on-one with. I believe in it that much that I buy it for you because it's a requirement to me. It is a requirement. And I do agree that you can't look at the GFR trends and directly associate that with a Renadyl. There would definitely need to be a lot more studies, a lot more research of people only doing that. But even so, anything regarding nutrition and science can get murky, and it's very, very tough to get rid of all of the intricacies involved in those studies. But I do believe it's very, very helpful, and it gives a very healthy gut. It supports a healthy gut, which, like James mentioned, is really, really helpful in taking care of your kidneys and easing the waste products that go through to your kidneys. And I mean, most people, even outside of kidney issues, most people can benefit in a probiotic. And it's something that a lot of dietitians recommend for a lot of different health issues. But you definitely want to check with your doctor, check with your dietitian, and see if it's something that is appropriate for you, because it's still a case-by-case basis. What works for one person may not work for the other, and vice versa.
Yep, exactly. And some people have asked, what stages can you take Renadyl at? It can be taken at all stages. Of course, you'll ask your doctor if it's right for you, and it can be taken on dialysis for those that are going in. Now, I see some questions about another pill that I take every day, ProRenal+D. Now, ProRenal+D is a multivitamin designed for kidney patients. There's certain things that we shouldn't have too much of, that if you go to the store and you buy Centrum and stuff like that, they've got other minerals and vitamins that we really don't have a problem with, or that we don't want to get too much of. So it has what we need. And it was recommended to me by my dietitian, and I started taking it, and all the kidney events that I went to, I would see the ProRenal+D team there and always say hi. And matter of fact, they are just down the road, probably an hour away from me in Dayton, Ohio. One day I want to go visit them because they're great people there. But I take ProRenal+D every day. It's just a multivitamin. It's a supplement to help me get a little extra vitamin D and other vitamins like the B complexes that those of us with kidney problems typically have issues getting enough of, or that we could use a little bit more of. It does not fix anything. It does not cure anything. It could potentially help you better manage symptoms that you have, like anemia. If you're lacking some iron and your B vitamins, or your red blood cells low and your hemoglobins are low, it does have some of the things your body needs to help address those symptoms. So for me, it's part of many things that help me in managing my symptoms so that I have absolutely no symptoms. And that's always my goal. I never want any symptoms. I don't care what my GFR is. I want to feel great, and I want zero symptoms. Now, Jen, we have never talked about ProRenal+D. Is it something that you've used with your clients, or is there a different renal multivitamin that you recommend for them?
Well, there's actually a few that are out there, and I just like with all of these recommendations, it's always going to be dependent on the person and what they need, because oftentimes people think that they have to have a vitamin, they have to have a supplement, but it's not always the case. I, as a dietitian, am a firm believer on food first and making sure that we're addressing any kind of deficiencies with nutritional sources of foods that we can eat. So that's the first thing. If I notice that cannot be met in the diet with whole, real food, then we can look into supplements. And the renal multivitamins, I do recommend for ProRenal. Actually, we might have talked about it because I pulled up my own bottle that I have on hand that I show my clients. So ProRenal+D is one of those. They also have the ProRenal without vitamin D, because not everybody with kidney issues needs additional vitamin D. It's more common, but it's not a given. It's not expected that it's going to be required. So it's still case by case if you need vitamin D. And then there's also Renovite, Nephrovite, Those are the other big ones. I'm trying to think. I have a few others, and I have a resource page on my website that I will, I'm writing a note for myself. I will send to you, James, so that you can include in the show notes so people can
Yep.
see other vitamins that I recommend, because it's going to be kind of different, but you want to check with your doctor. And you can always ask your doctor for like a B12 test or a vitamin D test to see if you are actually deficient in those values and if it would be beneficial. So you can get those micronutrient testings to see if you even need it in the first place.
And a few people have asked, can you take Renadyl and ProRenal+D at the same time? If your doctor or your dietitian says they're right for you, yes, you can. I do. I take both of those every single morning. And Renadyl has to be stored in the refrigerator. It's shipped in a refrigerated package, but it can go, I think, for 2 weeks
Yeah.
without being refrigerated. They ship almost everywhere except Germany and some parts of Africa. And you just store it in the refrigerator and you take 2 of those every day because, it's technically alive, the bacteria that's in there. You want to keep it healthy, keep it at the right temperature. Let me see, what else is there on it? Wow, there is so much. Okay, someone's asking about the taking Renadyl with fiber. We actually talked a little bit about this last week. Most people are not getting enough fiber. And the people who make Renadyl do make a fiber pill. I like to get my fiber from apples, especially when I was first diagnosed. Oh my goodness, you will not can't imagine how many bags of apples I went through. Great snack, fiber, kind of filling. It was easy. At one point, I missed French fries so bad. I chopped apples up like French fries and was eating them.
Yeah.
And it helped me mentally get over my cravings for some really bad foods.
Hmm. Yeah, that's really smart, actually.
Let's see. Gord, correct. Gord, you are correct. It is from Kibo. That is where it is. Or it looks like you were responding to somebody else. Wow, lots of great questions up here. Let me see. I'm going to look through these questions real quick, see if there's any that stand out. There was a lot about Renadyl. I'm glad to hear that people are becoming aware of it. Let's see. Wow. A lot of comments here. People are very glad to learn that they can eat bananas and other foods, that it's more about the nutrients and the portion control. Lots of positive comments
Yeah, I mean,
about that.
doesn't that already just bring you joy thinking about that optimism? I mean, so many people learning that they can have these things. It's just wonderful to me.
Oh yeah, and I remember when I made a video, the first one, where I talked about eating based on nutrition and portion sizes. It's a video about how to grocery shop. I talked about grocery shopping, not spending a lot of time in the middle of the store where all the highly processed foods are, looking for PHOS, PHOS on the ingredients and stuff. But in that video, if you guys go back and you rewatch that one, you'll see me talk about, I have this list of foods that a dietitian and a bunch of nephrologists, actually multiple dietitians, worked on and created this food list of foods that are typically lower in phosphorus, lower in potassium, that you can pretty easily fit into a kidney-friendly diet. And I remember that in that video, if you look at it, when I'm talking about that, you will see my eyes water up. That's how happy I was, how life-changing. I say in there, this list and looking at food differently changed my life. It suddenly made kidney disease so much easier to live with. And it was a light switch moment. It was not something that it took me a long time to get to that point. It was instantly. As soon as I realized this, and I was like, holy cow, the foods I want, I can eat. I may not be able to eat a whole bunch of them, but I need to lose weight anyway. It was going from restriction to you can have it. Just watch the portions. And it was life-changing for me. But if you guys watch that video, You'll see it. You can hear my voice kind of crack a little bit, and my eyes get all glossy. That is joy. You will notice it. You'll be like, oh my goodness, I see it. I can see the joy in his eyes. He's so happy because of that. And it was all thanks to so many dietitians that just changed the way I looked at food. Let's see. What about peanut butter on a renal diet? Kevin's asking about that. What are your thoughts on peanut butter?
I don't feel like I would be a human being if I said you couldn't have peanut butter. I think peanut butter is great. It is a plant-based protein. It has heart-healthy fats. As long as you get the kinds that are mostly made from actual peanuts, or you can do other nuts, and doesn't have a lot of other oils and additives, that's going to be the best kind. Even the salt, you want to check on the sodium content for your nut butter of choice. And again, this is one of those things that portion does really come to play, right? Because people can really overdo it fast with something that's very heavy in calories, in fat, in protein, very rich in those things in a small amount. So the nutrition facts will usually say 2 tablespoons is a serving. And that is quite, it's a good amount to put on a rice cracker or not a rice cracker, a rice cake, or toast, or to add to a smoothie, anything like that. I think peanut butter is an excellent option. So enjoy it, pair it with some celery for a really good snack, adding more vegetables in, pair it with that apple. Like I was totally thinking
Yes.
of your apple fries. That's immediately where my mind went to. And and even mixing in some cinnamon. I mean, there's just so many good ways to incorporate peanut butter into a kidney-friendly diet. The point is, you need to find out, because it is rich in potassium, it has phosphorus, but it's a plant source of phosphorus, so it's only absorbed by about 30%. But you want to make sure that you know exactly how that can fit in, how often you can have a serving of peanut butter, and what that will do not only to your labs, but to your quality of life, to be able to include something like that in your diet.
All right, we have a couple great questions here. Okay, Evie asked, what is the most important thing to do or eat to lower creatinine? I'm going to give my opinion. Now remember, guys, I'm not a doctor. I'm not a dietitian. I'm just kicking kidney disease to the curb. That's what I'm doing. To me, the biggest things that helped lower my creatinine were switching away from animal-based proteins. I had to give up eating, rib eyes and all that stuff. I absolutely love those. When I went much more, pretty much vegan, and I don't consider myself vegan, but when I eat much more vegan, my creatinine goes down because my body's not creating as much waste products, and the animal protein changes the acid level in your body. Drinking the right amount of water helped me. It made a noticeable difference when I went from pretty much living a dehydrated life to being correctly hydrated, not overhydrated. And then Renadyl helped me with that because it's, again, removing a bit more of the burden off of my kidney so that it can better keep up with me. But what are your recommendations for that, Jen?
Yeah, there's really no, because it sounds to me like the question is looking for like that golden ticket, that one thing to not put in the grocery cart. And there's really not a food that is going to decrease your creatinine level. I definitely agree with James when you talked about cutting down on the animal meat, animal proteins. That is something that I do with a lot of my clients, is reevaluating the amount of animal proteins in the diet. And some of my clients do go entirely vegan, depending on their situation, again, if it's best for them. But I also have clients who have CKD who continue to eat animal proteins. It's more about reevaluating how much is appropriate for them without sacrificing their kidney health. So I would say to start, and this is probably going to be helpful for a lot of people that, again, are newly diagnosed, start doing a food journal. We talked about chronometer. We talked about different ways to track your food. Whatever way is easiest for you, that's the best way to do it. So pen and paper, an Excel spreadsheet, doing something like Chronometer or MyFitnessPal, whatever the case is, however you can do that for a solid couple days, especially leading up to your next blood test result, that is going to give you the most insight on what to make changes for. So take a look, see what you're already doing, see how that relates to some of even the general guidelines that you can find online. See how that relates to it. And are you going over the 100% recommendation of anything? And if that's the case, that is potentially something that you might want to reevaluate. And sodium, that's a huge thing. Having too much salt in our diet is super common, especially with the American diet.
Yeah.
So you know, right? I mean,
Oh, yeah.
we get so accustomed to all that salt and it's hard to cut down, but it is a really good training process for your tongue, for your taste buds to cut out that salt, because in the future, you're going to be able to identify when things are actually salty and you'll find yourself eating less salt and still enjoying your food.
Yep. And we have another question here. Is it safe, and this is one of the things I do, to do intermittent fasting with CKD? So my doctors made me wait until my GFR got up to 30. They wanted me to hit stage 3 before I tried intermittent fasting. And I tried a number of different versions of it. I did try for a short period of time 1 meal a day. That was like next to impossible because I had an hour to eat all the calories and everything that I needed. It did not work for me. It did not fit my lifestyle. My doctor was not happy with me doing it. I do practice a version of intermittent fasting. I get up in the morning. I drink plenty of water. I try to sip my water all day long. I keep my bottle right here next to me always. I take my medication that I need. I eat my first meal at noon, and then I finish my last meal at 6 p.m. And I've just gotten used to that, so I have a kind of a small eating window. It's 6 hours. Then after dinner, I'm not hungry. Then it's bedtime. I'm sleeping. I get up in the morning. I'm busy doing stuff, and my body is just used to not eating really early. I'm not hungry at 7, 8, 9, 10 a.m. If I get hungry at 11, I eat my lunch. I'll have it then. I don't starve myself. But that's the type of intermittent fasting that I've been doing, and I can't tell you if it does help my kidneys anymore. But I've gotten used to it. It's just the way that I am. Before I was the 3 meals a day plus 5 or 6 snacks, and then the pre-bedtime meal. That was not good for me. What are your thoughts on intermittent fasting, Jen?
Well, I think it might be helpful, but there's not a ton of research out there. And there might be research, there is research when it comes to just intermittent fasting in general. But now we're talking about intermittent fasting and kidney issues, kidney disease, right? So that requires a whole new studies, right? We can't just take one study and assume that's the way it works for everybody. It has to be repeated to be proven. So we're looking at trying something of this trend to see if it would do anything with kidney health, with kidney damage, how we would see that reflecting on the GFR and the other kidney labs that we're looking at. And the other thing I would want to say, well, a few things actually. So there's some thought that it can be helpful in the sense that we don't need to be eating 24 hours a day, right? We have about 8 hours that we should be assuming for bedtime. So theoretically, technically, if you can follow an 8-hour time frame of just getting sleep, just getting solid good night's sleep, no midnight snacks, no getting up in the middle of the night for something to eat. If that's something you can do, then you're technically kind of practicing in a version of intermittent fasting already. Now, I also do feel that it can be helpful for some people to limit their food before bed because it can help with digestion. You don't really want to eat a large meal and then go lay down because that can lead to reflux. So that's something to be careful of. So I usually recommend with people to give themselves a couple hours before they go to bed without eating food so that they don't have that heartburn, that reflux, those digestive issues. And it can also lead to better sleep because your body isn't having to go through a heavy digestion process while you're sleeping, and your body is trying to get blood outside to your extremities, blood to your brain, and to take care of other things instead of digestion. So that, I think, is a big factor, and that can be helpful. Then the last question I would put back to you is, what is your goal with intermittent fasting? And James, I mean to you, but also to all of our viewers right now. What is your goal of intermittent fasting? And is intermittent fasting something that you can do to reach this goal and sustain this goal? Can you do this for the rest of your life? If you get, because it's something that we talk about as more of a lifestyle change and making new habits. So if it's something that you think that you would do for 2 months until you see your kidneys maybe get better, or you see some weight loss, which is what people traditionally do intermittent fasting for, then it's probably not going to be the best thing for you. But luckily, there's so many other ways that we can make so many different changes that don't revolve around intermittent fasting that can still help you and get you feeling better and get you towards that goal that you're looking for.
Perfect. Okay, we have a question. Nutritional yeast, is it okay for seasoning soups and fritters?
Do you use nutritional yeast, James?
I do not. I don't know what the heck it is.
Okay, so
do I need to be?
No. I mean, I was just thinking I have a little bit left in my pantry right now. It's actually on my grocery list because I am running too low. Nutritional yeast is like a deactivated yeast, and it has a ton of nutrients in it. It is a good source of B vitamins. So that is really, really helpful for our diet. It is really good in a plant-based diet, in a vegan diet that is avoiding cheese, because it has this Parmesan cheese, umami, savory kind of taste to it. So a lot of people use nutritional yeast when they're doing something like a salad and they want a sprinkle of cheese on their salad. Or I make a vegan cheese sauce with cashews and nutritional yeast, along with a few other little spices. But it is just such a interesting flavor to it that the closest thing I could explain to it is like Parmesan cheese. But it's
I'm buying some. I wrote it down.
Yeah, great. I mean, personally, I love it and I use it all the time. And I do provide recommendations. I usually will share it on my Instagram. That's how I share some of these recommendations of different grocery things to find that are good for the kidneys. And that is one of the stars of the show often is nutritional yeast. So it can easily fit into a renal diet.
Awesome. I love it when I learn new stuff. Yeah. And I miss cheese. Oh, do I miss cheese? And if it even has anything, and I eat so many salads and so much stir fry. And this sounds like something that could help. You know, I'm always looking for what can I do to change up the flavor or the texture just to give me some more variety.
Oh, especially when it comes to football season and people want to start having like nachos or a cheese dip.
Whoa. Oh, yeah. I'm getting that. My next trip. I only go to the groceries every 2 weeks now. I'm a week away. I'm going to go get some of this in my next one.
Perfect. And it lasts in the pantry, so it's great.
Someone asked, and I know that I have an overlay for this, about an example meal plan.
Okay.
Yeah. So I'm going to put the link up.
About your overlay?
Yeah, I got your link up for the free 6-day meal plan.
Yeah, so that is something that I offer to people who, just go to my website and check it out. It's not going to like be right in your face as soon as you go to my website. So I think it's like 20 seconds after. So if you see my website, if you stick around, then it'll pop up for you. But it's a 6-day meal plan. It's all plant-based. So it talks about, it shows basically all these different recipes, breakfast, lunch, dinner, and a snack of how you can get more plants into your diet. And the great thing about it is that it has the nutrition breakdown for the recipes. So it includes the potassium and phosphorus and sodium content, as well as the regular macronutrients, carbohydrates, protein, and fat. But it will give you a better idea once you know your numbers, like James does. Once you know that, you'll be able to see that meal plan and see those recipes to find how that can fit into your day. So that is definitely something that I have available to everybody. It is free. And I always love feedback on it as well. So please, once you do try it, share what you make from it. Tag me in it if you're on social media. It's something that I really enjoy and love giving people more ideas for recipes.
Very good. And you can never have too many recipes, everybody.
Yeah.
Yes, you don't want to get tired of eating the same thing. You like get that variety. So here's a question someone asked that a lot of people are commenting on. They want to know the answer. Mike, I'm going to give you some bad news. The question is, James, are there any natural herbs to heal the health of the kidneys and or the adrenals? There's none. The best thing you can do is work with your doctor. And remember, I'm not a doctor. This is my opinion. Work with your doctor. Avoid things that are going to cause problems. You smoke, got to stop smoking. Your blood pressure is high, got to get it under control. You can watch your blood sugar, even if you're not diabetic. You got to pay attention to that. And then eat, give your body the nutrition it needs. Don't overburden it, and you cannot starve yourself healthy. But there is no flour on the western side of a mountain in Tibet that is going to heal things. If someone's selling something, that's a bottle of tears that you're buying. Don't waste your money. There's other things. You could spend it on yourself, getting some healthy food, spending it on time with a dietitian. But there is no natural herbs that will heal your kidneys. Anything you want to add to that, Jen? I get this question all the time, all across social media, because of so many sites pawning off, trying to take our hard-earned money with some kind of herb, which could end up being dangerous.
Exactly. And that's what I really wanted to say as well. Everything you said, totally true. There is no herbal supplement, no kidney cleanse, nothing like that is out there in the market that will actually do anything for you. All of these products that are out there are not regulated. They can put anything in those bottles that they want. No one's checking on it. No one's verifying that it even has, even if it said it's full of like dandelion or something, which is one that I hear a lot of. There's no evidence. There's no testing to show that that's really the case. They're not regulated. The supplements, the herbal supplements and remedies are not regulated. They can do whatever they want, put whatever they want in there and still take your money. And that'll be the end of it. So I never encourage any kind of herbal supplement, kidney cleanse, kidney detox, those big flashy words.
Kidney flush.
Online. Yes.
Turn your kidneys on like a faucet.
I know. Don't buy into it. Please do not spend your money there. There are other things that you can spend your money on that will be much more helpful for you and probably cheaper, to be honest.
Yep. And there's one change I want to make to what you said. You said they won't do anything for you. They won't do anything good for you. They could hurt you. Yes. Some of these things, you could be taking it and you're hurting your kidneys. You just spent $100 on a bottle of junk. You're taking it and now you're hurting yourself. So you threw away money and you're going to put more burden and stress on your kidneys. Stay away from those. I wish there was ways I could, get the word out there. And also with supplements and any pill you're going to take, you got to ask your doctor. You got to talk to your healthcare team. Make sure they understand. And just because somebody else takes it, if someone's taking, and I saw some questions about this, sodium bicarbonate, those are pretty much baking soda pills. Yes, they are recommended by doctors for some kidney patients at certain stages because they need it. There's stuff it does to your body and they need it, so they take some of those pills. Don't be going in Amazon and popping those pills just because you think you're going to help. You are not. Your body is it's a working machine and there's a balance of everything. They're taking that pill because they have something out of balance that they need, that sodium bicarbonate. They need more of it than what their body's creating, So they have to take a supplement, additional. If you don't need it, taking extra is not good. As a matter of fact, all those baking soda videos, if you take those, you are not going to absorb the nutrients correctly. So the food you're eating, now you're not getting those nutrients that you're eating because you're taking something you didn't need that wasn't recommended by your healthcare team. So all of those pills, all of those potions, herbs, and all that, always make sure you talk to your doctor first, talk to your healthcare team, talk to your dietitian, and let them know what you are taking. If you're taking some things without your doctor's knowledge, let them know on your next visit. Say, hey, I'm taking this. I started taking an extra 1,000 international units of vitamin D every week. Let them know. So if they're looking at a test, they know what to check for. And if something's out of whack, they know, oh, it's because you're doing that. You shouldn't. You got to stop that. Go back to where you were, where I told you to be, because your labs are showing you're going the wrong direction. So I just want to emphasize that because so many comments appeared on the screen about all different supplements and all sorts of things there. Wow. Well, we have passed our 1 hour mark. And Jen and I are trying to keep these to an hour so that when people watch the replays, it's easier to consume. This was great. There were so many comments and questions. And I know we didn't get to everyone's questions. For those of you that were asking questions, I will go through and look at these, and Jen and I'll make a list so Jen and I can talk about, hey, let's address these ones next week when we do the show. But so many come flying by. It's not that I try to miss anybody's. There's a lot of them, and you only see the questions from the platform you're watching us on. My screen shows me all the platforms all together, so there's a lot of stuff, but we really, really appreciate everyone's time with us. Is there any closing statement or closing comments you want to make? I don't want to sound like a lawyer. I've been watching a lot of movies.
Well, I do want to say one last thing for people that are newly diagnosed with CKD. It's really important to have a support system in place, whether that is at your home, it's with the people that you live with, or it can be outside of that too. And it is so, and I can't even verbally express how important that is. So one of the resources I highly recommend that you look to, and James, I mentioned this, so we'll include it in the show notes, to go to the Kidney Foundation's page of their offices that are throughout the U.S. So the National Kidney Foundation has offices across the different states, and by contacting your state's National Kidney Foundation, you can then ask them about the support groups that they have throughout the state that meet on a routine basis. It could be monthly, quarterly, whatever the case is, but you will be able to meet with a group of other people in your area who have all different stages of kidney issues, dialysis to stage 1, everywhere in between. And you are going to learn, you're going to have that peer support, so you can talk and connect with more people that are in the similar situations. And again, just have another way to have support and coping with the loss of kidney function. So I think that's so important to have support systems in place. I can't even verbally explain how important it is, but it's so important.
Yeah, and when I was first diagnosed, I don't know if I mentioned this earlier in the show today, every visit I made to my doctor, and in the beginning I was there every day because my GFR was really bad. The first thing he always asks, how are you doing? How is stress? Are you exercising? Just to relieve stress and clear my mind. And that was so important to me to see that he took such an active role to make that the number one thing was how was I doing? How was I handling this? How was I coping? Did I need any additional help or something like that? And I'm so thankful for all that. And if you guys need support, the link will be in the description. Also, reach out. We're all here. We're all people. We're kidney warriors. We have an amazing community. We're supporting and helping each other as best as we can. don't think, I'm getting down because I'm thinking, that it's not going to be the future that I wanted because of kidney disease. Reach out. I am an open book. I have nothing. I'm out here on YouTube sharing my sickness. You've seen my old videos. You've seen the worst of me. I look like the cast member from The Walking Dead. I will help give you that support you need and help you find, if there's something specific you're looking for or organization that can help you. Feel free always to reach out. We have an awesome community here, and together, we're all going to kick kidney disease to the curb. And with that, we thank you guys for being here. Next Tuesday, same time, same channel, we will be here with more great information to help you live an amazing life with kidney disease and get the most out of it. All right, everybody? Thank you for being here. We appreciate it.
Thank you.